So we are delighted to welcome you to this webinar on opportunities and pathways, exploring careers in early childhood education by embracing registered apprenticeship, presented in collaboration with the Council for Professional Recognition and the Early Childhood Workforce Connector. Today's webinar is part of a series dedicated to highlighting registered apprenticeship programs in the field of early childhood education. This underscores our commitment to providing knowledge and resources for professional growth in this field. To turn on closed captions, click the three dots labeled as More in the bottom right corner and select Captions from the menu. All participants are muted upon entry. There will be an opportunity between sections and at the end of the presentations for Q&A. You are welcome to unmute and ask your questions at these times. We also have team members monitoring the chat, so you can pop your questions in there throughout the presentation. Now first, let's get to know our presenters. I'm Haley Brush, the Public Policy and Advocacy Manager here at the Council for Professional Recognition. I started my career in early childhood systems building at the local level, first in Philadelphia and then in DC, where I focused on providing technical assistance and emergency funding supports before joining the Council. Here, I lead our policy efforts, including coordinating our federal and state strategy, policy-related communications, and our advocate engagement. I'd also like to introduce Marjorie Cohen, the project manager for the Early Childhood Workforce Connector. Hi, Marjorie, who has over 20 years of experience in education and workforce development policy and research, technical assistance, program management, and project leadership. Marjorie supports early childhood education providers, in-demand sector employers, secondary and post-secondary education institutions, state and local agencies, and other key stakeholders to provide high-quality registered apprenticeship programs for the ECE workforce. Also, meet Marion Grant Whitlock. Marion serves as the Early Childhood Education Liaison at the Early Childhood Workforce Connector. Hi, Marion. Her passion for empowering educators and advocating for families and children drives her work in promoting inclusion, literacy, meaningful relationships, and social emotional development. She truly embodies the essence of an early childhood champion. Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we'll unpack a powerful agenda. First, we'll gear up with a deep dive into our partnership with the Early Childhood Workforce Connector and explore their mission. Next, we will learn how registered apprenticeship programs in early childhood education support professional development and career advancement. There we go, tongue twister. We will also explore diverse career roles and opportunities in early childhood education. And we will hear firsthand accounts from professionals in the field about their career progression, the impact of apprenticeships, and tips for navigating the career pathway in ECE. Finally, we'll discover the amazing supports available through the ECWC that can help your programs thrive. Get ready to take notes. This session is packed with actionable insights. Many of you here today may already be connected with the Council and our work, but I'd like to share a little bit about what we do to make sure everyone is on the same page. We administer the Child Development Associate, or CDA credential, which is the most widely recognized credential in early childhood education. It is nationally recognized, transferable, and competency-based. It is a key stepping stone on the path to career advancement in early childhood education. To be awarded the credential, candidates must complete an assessment process and demonstrate that they are able to put their knowledge of the CDA competency standards into practice in their daily work with children and families. Candidates can earn their credential in any of the settings that we offer: infant toddler, preschool, family childcare, or home visiting. Being awarded the CDA means a candidate is qualified to be a lead teacher in the classroom. Also, the Council for Professional Recognition and the Early Childhood Workforce Connector have partnered to support credential career pathways for early childhood educators. Registered apprenticeship programs are an important investment in the early childhood workforce, providing high-quality professional learning and equitable compensation. This webinar series will explore how registered apprenticeships provide a professional development pathway to develop skills, advance and sustain successful careers, and strengthen the ECE workforce. The Council for Professional Recognition is a leader in credentialing early childhood educators worldwide. Together with the Early Childhood Workforce Connector, we are working toward advancing the careers of ECE professionals through the Child Development Associate and U.S. Department of Labor credentialing. We will host these monthly webinar sessions leading up to the 2024 Early Educators Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. in October. The Early Childhood Workforce Connector will be presenting alongside their partners to dive deeper into registered apprenticeship programs for ECE. And with that, I will hand things off to Marjorie.
Thank you, Haley. And I also want to put a plug in for EELC. It is super fun, very informative, and you'll get to see some of us there, and we're going to be really excited. So let me talk a little bit about who we are. So if you've joined our previous webinars, you've probably already heard this, but it never hurts to remind everybody. So the Early Childhood Workforce Connector is one of 2 early childhood education registered apprenticeship industry intermediaries, which is a lot of things to say. The Early Childhood Workforce Connector, or as we like to be called, ECWC, promotes developing, launching, and expanding registered apprenticeship programs to support and sustain a diverse, inclusive, well-qualified, and well-compensated early childhood education workforce. And I'll get into what registered apprenticeship is in a moment. ECE, registered apprenticeship programs with high quality, accessible, supportive, and equitable early childhood program employers lift the entire community and the local workforce. It is the workforce behind the workforce. And a strong, inclusive, and robust early childhood ecosystem contributes to the health and well-being of young children and their families, as well as the broader economy. As a U.S. Department of Labor funded early childhood education intermediary, ECWC provides customized technical assistance, including help with curriculum development, outreach and recruitment, mentor training, accessing available funding, and so much more, all for free. So let's talk for a moment about what a registered apprenticeship program is. Let me give you a quick overview so that the rest of the conversation makes more sense. All right, so as we've discussed in our previous webinars, registered apprenticeship is a structured Department of Labor approved training model. Haley, if you could move the slide 1, that would be great. Thank you. I just wanted to give you this quick overview of what registered apprenticeship is before we dive into the career opportunities and our fabulous panel. So here are the 7 components of registered apprenticeship. First, it's industry-led. Programs are industry vetted and approved to ensure alignment with industry standards, and that apprentices are trained for highly skilled, high-demand occupations like early childhood. It's a paid job. Apprenticeships are, in fact, jobs. Apprentices earn a progressive wage as their skills and productivity increase. They're structured on-the-job learning, and programs provide structured on-the-job training to prepare for a successful career, which includes instruction from an experienced mentor. The supplemental education piece, apprentices are provided supplemental classroom education based on the employer's unique training needs to ensure quality and success. Diversity. Programs are designed to reflect the communities in which they operate through strong non-discrimination, anti-harassment, and recruitment practices to ensure access, equity, and inclusion. Quality and safety, which is obviously a very big part of early childhood. Apprentices are afforded worker protections while receiving rigorous training to equip them with the skills they need to succeed and the proper training and supervision they need to be safe and to keep their kids safe. And finally, credentials. As Haley mentioned, apprentices earn a portable, nationally recognized credential within their industry. So let's talk a little bit more generally about how the registered apprenticeship system works in the US. It's a little bit complicated. The light blue states represent states where registered apprenticeship programs are facilitated by the Office of Apprenticeship. That's the Federal Office of Apprenticeship as part of the Department of Labor. The dark blue states are overseen by state apprenticeship offices and agencies. These states follow rules and regulations from the Office of Apprenticeship, as well as adhering to state-specific guidance. Take a moment to check out your state. Also, just to let you know, Iowa was just approved as an SAA state last month. So we're going to update our slides right after this webinar. And on this slide, we see a visual comparison of work-based learning programs. On the far right column, we've highlighted the guarantees with a registered apprenticeship program. As you can see, internship and apprenticeship do provide some of the same benefits that registered apprenticeship does, but registered apprenticeship provides so much more. Registered apprenticeship is a commitment to increasing knowledge and skill through industry-approved on-the-job training and coursework, as well as mentorship, as I mentioned. There's also access to funding and other resources from federal programs that support registered apprenticeship. And lastly, graduates receive, as we've mentioned, a nationally recognized credential, which is very important and means that they can, it's portable from state to state. So registered apprenticeship helps early childhood educators flourish by supporting high quality, accessible, and equitable learning opportunities that enable them to enrich the lives of children, families, and communities, while also increasing access to childcare. For employers, registered apprenticeship increases employee retention. The data from the US Department of Labor right now is that currently 90% of apprentices remain with their host employer after completing a registered apprenticeship program. Employers also benefit from customized workforce training that meets the need of their specific workforce. Apprentices benefit from progressive wages as they gain more skills and knowledge. And as I have said 4 times before, apprentice graduates receive nationally recognized credentials from the US Department of Labor that do not expire. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Marion to learn more about incredible opportunities the ECE field offers. Marion.
Thank you, Marjorie. I am so excited to be here, and I have some great, wonderful questions. And thank you for that wonderful recap on registered apprenticeship. Before moving into the rest of our webinar, we would love to see and get a sense of who's joining us today. So that brings about our first poll question. What is your role in ECE? So are you just curious or getting started? An ECE educator, an administrator, manager or director, a policymaker and or advocate, or other. So just take that time to take your poll, and we'll get those responses in a few. And I'm so excited that everyone is here to join us and so learn so much more about registered apprenticeship and career opportunities. That poll should be coming up. Oh, it just went down. And survey says, maybe it's coming up. And if you're just seeing the poll, it says, what is your role in early childhood education? Just curious or getting started, an ECE educator, an administrator, manager, director, a policymaker and or advocate, or other.
So our poll, for whatever reason, is failing to share the results, but I will provide them. So we have
no worries.
5% that are just curious and getting started. Around 18% are an ECE educator. We have 27% that are in the role of an administrator, manager, or director. We have 6% that are policymakers. And then we have a much larger percentage of 44 that are identified as other.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Those are fantastic responses. And it seems we have a variety of careers and experience levels represented with us today. And that is exactly what we were hoping for, a diverse group with a shared interest in early childhood education. Now, I would love to get a more personal glimpse into your journeys, which leads us into the next question. In 5 words or less, describe your ECE career journey or pathway. So this is very important, and it helps us to understand where everyone stands in your ECE journey. So take a moment and share your experience in 5 words. And you can place those answers in the chat. Okay, let's see. Okay, I see the chat is booming. Do we see the chat moving around there? Okay, I am an ECE site coach. Okay, I think I'm getting some poll answers from the last one. So this one is learn as I go, lifelong, almost 30 years. Fell in love with ECE, okay, 40 years. All right. Just getting started. Build workforce pipeline. Awesome. Over 25 years, so we have a lot of experience. Love it, love it, love it. Now, you might be wondering why we ask you to share your ECE journey in just 5 words. And as I go along, you can still put those journeys in the chat. But there's a great reason behind it. It all connects to your why. Why are you interested in early childhood education? And why does this field matter? Next slide, please. All righty, thank you. Finding your why is vital for a fulfilling career in any field, but especially in early childhood education. It's the driving force that keeps you motivated and passionate about the work you do. Understanding your why also helps you connect with the broader why of ECE, because ultimately, ECE is about so much more than just teaching children. It's about nurturing their development, sparking their curiosity, and laying the foundation for their future success. So let's dive a little bit deeper. Your why is central to a fulfilling career in early childhood education. And there's no greater why than the incredible impact you have on young children's lives. Did you know that 90% of a child's brain's development occurs before the age of 5? This period is a critical window when experiences shape neural connections that lay the foundation for future learning, behavior, and health. ECE professionals play an important role in this process. Through nurturing care, stimulating activities, and positive interactions, you help children build these essential brain connections. You're not just teaching them colors and numbers, you're shaping their ability to think critically, solve problems, and regulate their emotions. In essence, you are architects of the future. When you foster healthy brain development, you are empowering children to reach their full potential and build a brighter future for themselves and our communities. This isn't just a feel-good notion. It's backed by science. Decades of research have shown that long-lasting benefits of high-quality ECE impact all children. Children who experience positive early learning environments are more likely to succeed in school, have healthier relationships, and contribute positively to society. So your why is rooted in science. The work you do in early childhood education truly makes a difference, shaping young minds and building a brighter tomorrow. As we discussed, early childhood education is about so much more than just childcare. It's an investment in children's community, in children's futures. With building the foundation, early learning matters. High-quality early childhood education programs provide a nurturing environment that fosters a child's intellectual, social, and emotional development. With building the foundation, lifelong impact happens. The skills and knowledge learned during these formative years create a strong foundation for success in school and throughout life. With building the foundation, academic advantage happens. Studies show that children who experience quality early childhood education are better prepared for kindergarten and achieve higher academic results later on. ECE is a growing field with high demand. The demand of qualified early childhood education professionals is on the rise due to a growing number of young children and increasing awareness of the importance of early learning. And ECE is a growing field and has very exciting opportunities. This translates to a wealth of career options in a dynamic and fulfilling field. Investing in early childhood education has long-term and lasting impacts far beyond most social investments. Research shows that every $1 invested in quality early childhood programs can yield returns between $4 and $16. Financial benefits in our society include everything from increased lifetime earnings to savings in social safety net programs to reduction in incarceration. As a result, society sees both long-term savings on the need of social and medical services, as well as increased financial and social contributions from individuals. Investing in early childhood education isn't just about helping children. It's a strategic move and long-term economic benefits. This highlights the incredible return on investment that early childhood education provides, both for individuals and for our communities. As we've explored, early childhood education matters deeply. It's about shaping young minds for a brighter future. But what about your why? Why are you drawn to this important field? What ignites your passion for working with children? Understanding your why is a powerful tool. It's the fuel that keeps you motivated and brings joy to your work. It's also unique to each person. And that leads us into our next question. Let's take a moment to explore your own why. In the chat, note the image on the screen that best represents your reason for being passionate about your ECE work. So number 1 is children, 2 represents family, 3 represents community, 4 represents growth, and 5 represents success. There is no wrong answer, whether it's nurturing young minds, igniting curiosity, or fostering positive social interaction. Your why is what makes you a valuable asset to this field. So I'm going to take a peek over here in the chat to see what is going on. Oh, I see it buzzing. Oh, Dawn has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, I love it. I love it. The chat is buzzing with such a variety of images, and I love it. I love it. So with that being said, let's explore the next slide. Let's explore the world of possibilities for careers in early childhood education. As you can see from this graphic, there are a variety of occupations in early childhood education. We used a tree for this graphic to show that someone could start with an entry-level position and further their education and experience to work their way up to other careers in early childhood education. Registered apprenticeship is one way that someone could move throughout this tree. ECE registered apprenticeship programs offer multiple entry points and career pathways to ECE careers. RA programs can jumpstart careers, further professional development, and lead to a variety of professions in early childhood education. Apprentices advance their knowledge from on-the-job learning and early childhood-related coursework that aligns with their career goals and interests. The Child Development Associate CDA credential is a valuable step in advancing one's career in this field. The components of the CDA credential align with registered apprenticeship standards. ECE RA programs can incorporate CDA credential attainment into their program structure, meaning apprentices fulfilling their CDA requirements while achieving their U.S. Department of Labor certification. RA programs can also incorporate academic degrees such as associate's and bachelor's degrees. In the chat, we are going to place the career opportunities resource link from our website. And so now, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing my voice, but we're going to hear someone else's voice in a bit. And they're going to talk about some real life examples of those opportunities and pathways. So I'm going to turn it over to Carol.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kara Lenhart, and I am a subject matter expert for the Early Childhood Workforce Connector, so work alongside Marjorie and Miriam. And I have a couple decades of experience working to support the educators and leaders within the early childhood workforce. I love the tree graphic, and I hope you will download it. Personally, I see myself in the tree as someone that's worked in childcare resource and referral within state and national leadership organizations, and now working broadly across the nation on early childhood systems. Marjorie talked about finding your why, and I just want to share very briefly that I found my why sort of accidentally, as many do, stumbling into the world of early childhood education very early in my career. But it wasn't long before I really fell in love. And I fell in love with this work because of its abundance of benefits, which Miriam talked about, right? The ways in which quality early experiences benefit children and families in our society is, I think, just amazing and magical. But for me, I also fell in love with early childhood educators. From day one, those folks who work day in, day out, tirelessly on behalf of young children and their families, and they show up with passion and purpose. And it has been the joy of my career to help folks see that passion and purpose and then move through their careers with it. So it is my joy today to get to introduce our panelists and to interview them, because I think they really exemplify that description of folks who work with passion and purpose in this world. And you've already heard a little bit from Miriam, but she's just such a beautiful and excellent example of this work and the ways that folks can move in different directions and within their career in the work of early childhood education. So I'm excited to be able to ask her some questions so you can hear more about her journey and her work. And then we are also thrilled to welcome David Tate Jr., who is working in classroom in Milwaukee, has some true passions for registered apprentice for the early childhood field, and I hear is the first or was the first registered apprentice in early childhood education from the state of Wisconsin. So thrilled to have them both here. We're going to go ahead and share our cameras and pull down the slides, and we'll get started. All right. So I'm going to start with Miriam for this first question. Miriam, could you share a little bit about your personal journey within the field of early childhood education? What really drew you into this work, and where did your journey go from there? Because I know you've had a long and beautiful career in early childhood education, and more to come.
Thank you, Kara. It starts off kind of funny. So my career in early childhood education, I was led in when I was 16 years old. And I have been in this field for 31 years, so no one should be calculating my age right now. But at 16, when I was in high school, someone came up and asked me, did I want to be a teacher cadet? So I said, oh, yeah, what is that? And they said, hey, you get to go, visit childcare programs and, play with children, watch how, to engage with children, parents. And I said, how's my grade? How do I get a grade? It's like, oh, we give you a grade for doing that. So that was a win-win for me. Who would not have wanted to get out of school and go play and watch others and learn from others, and I still get a grade? So did not know that me making that decision, that 16-year-old girl made that decision, would have me still in this field 31 years later, loving what I do, and truly knowing that everything I have, every position that I've held has always been ECE and has, so there's like that tree is so like a world of possibilities. And that is that 16-year-old girl had a seed planted within her. So at that age, and so I was a teacher cadet, floater, after school teacher, lead teacher, teacher assistant, administrative assistant. I worked in the kitchen, transportation. I even taught high school child and family development courses, and the foods, I guess it's like the family and consumer sciences. I was a trainer and technical assistance provider, and now I'm along with the Early Childhood Workforce Connector as a early childhood liaison, and I am still moving and grooving, and I am in school right now for my master's in infant, child, and family mental health and development. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Marion. I love it. I feel like Marion could take the tree and just put check boxes and have a checkbox in a whole lot of those little circles on the tree, as really someone who has exemplified some of the ways that folks can move and grow and advance in the field of early care and education. So thank you so much, Marion. David, would you share a little bit about your personal journey in this field and how'd you get started?
Thank you guys for one. Very blessed to be here today. So yeah, my journey started back honestly when I was a child. So I was raised with my mom and dad, but we spent most of my time at my grandparents' house where she was a daycare teacher and my grandfather ran the transportation. So I was always, I was brought up in the daycare home, the school system. So growing into my teen years, my first job was actually at a Boys and Girls Club here in Milwaukee. And I was just working as the youth director, just working with the younger kids and, like passing out snack and stuff like that, make sure their activities were fun. And after that, I started having conversations with my dad, and he's like, you need to do something that's going to impact your community. And I'm always like, well, I'll be a gym teacher. Like, gym teachers always been cool to me. They're not like doing the hard work. They're always fun with the kids. So I always wanted to be a gym teacher. So like growing up, I always said like, I'll just be a gym teacher. And my dad said, well, you got to shoot bigger than a gym teacher. Like go bigger than that. So in high school, I actually did change my route. I went into business management, which was not for me, obviously, because I'm here now. But my mentor at the time, she was like, she was over at our public schools here, and she was like, what do you want to do? Like, you say you want to do these things, but I see you like leading something. And I'm like, well, what can I lead? She's like, do you want to lead a classroom? So after that, I went out to DC and I got some rigorous training hours at Howard University where they embedded like SEEDS learning into us. SEEDS is sensitivity, education, encouragement, development, and then self-image. And all that is supposed to be fed into you, and then you feed it back into the kids. So after I got all my training in DC, I came back home, used all those skills, and I was embedded into a K-4 classroom, which is actually across the street from the building I'm at now. So I always see those people and those kids still. But I was embedded into that classroom in 2018. So that's when I got my first like real start in the classroom of being just a tutor, a literacy tutor. And I was in the classroom for 5 hours, and then the next 3 hours I had to do like paperwork. So that got me ready for where I am now or then. So after that in 2019, the building I'm at now, they were doing like visits over across the street, and they were just like, oh, we need him. Like, let's get him. We need David. So it was like a blessing and a curse and all in disguise. So getting the opportunity to leave from being a tutor and then being an assistant. Well, before I became assistant, I worked 5 months in the library, learning the books and the stickers and cleaning books and like stuff like that. And then I got my first opportunity in the classroom working as an assistant, but my assistant role was cut short because of COVID. So I really didn't get my full year of teaching in the classroom like that first year. So I had to do most of my teaching virtually. And then the next year is when I was put in school for technical diplomas, associate's degrees, and then became a co-teacher, and now I'm a lead teacher. So that's all like a 5, 6, 7 year span.
I love hearing about people's early childhood journeys. David, where did registered apprenticeship fit into that pathway?
So actually, here at my job, well, my career, when I first started there wasn't really a path where people like me could get their associate degrees or technical diplomas. It was only for people who were reaching their masters. Like the career will only pay for your masters. They weren't paying for associates. So when I came and I'm telling my president, like, I really want to go back to school. Like, I really want these credentials. I really want this because I want to be this and that. She's like, well, we're just gonna have to create something just for you. So like with me being in the pathways, it got connected to the apprenticeship, which is why I'm like the first apprentice
I
from
see.
Wisconsin.
David
So
is not just the
hand in
first, he's
hand.
the inspiration for.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So what do you believe to be some of the essential attributes for success in early childhood education? And what are some of the things you feel you need to do to keep up to date in this field that's ever evolving? And David, we'll go to you for that one.
For me, I'm always big on knowing who you are. That was one of my biggest things before I stepped into anybody's classroom. I was checking myself in the bathroom or checking myself on my phone, looking in the mirror. Hey, are you good? Are you ready for this? Do you know what you're going into? And then knowing, do the kids know themselves was also another thing. It's like it goes back to my development and self-image. Like, okay, I know who I am. I'm Mr. David. I identify as a Black male. Okay, now I got to help these kids identify. Do you know how to tie your shoes? Do you know that your hand is this color on this side and this color on this side? So I feel like just being in the classroom for the past 6, 7 years, I've really understood what it was meant just to be in early childhood. And so I'm just so grateful that these children now have me because I didn't understand school as much back then, but now being through all the levels of education, I feel like I pretty much got the basics of just knowing who you are in order to do this job. So, or just be in this career field, period.
That's great. David, what advice would you give someone who might be considering registered apprenticeship in ECE? And what has the impact of registered apprenticeship been on your career personally?
First thing I would say is find support. I was super big on handling everything by myself because I don't like bothering people. Like if I could do it, then I'm just gonna do it myself without ever worrying you. And then you'll just see like, oh, you didn't even need my help. Yeah, of course I didn't because it's me. But I've learned like, oh my God, you need somebody that's gonna pick you up on those tough days. You need somebody that's gonna pick you up on your good days because just like these kids, we need the affirmation and praises too. Like those things go so far beyond just the job itself. Like you may be in the grocery store and then you're reminding yourself, like, oh, somebody told me this today. I need to, keep that up. Or on a bad day, and you're feeling down and somebody tell you something, and it's like, oh, I need to keep that up. So this support. And support for me has been like therapy. I've enrolled into therapy 4 or 5 times because it's free here at my job. I'm always going to talk to the other males here, the younger males, the older males. Some of them are married. That's younger. Some the older ones are married. So it's like it's not just advice about just the work. It's about life advice, and that support has always been good for me. And then two, this I feel like this apprenticeship has molded me into a human. Before I was an educator or a male, I finally feel like a human being, like I have a purpose. So yeah, I would say they just need to find the support and then their purpose inside of this. And everything should be fine, I hope.
I love that. You can tell David connects back to Marianne's conversation about really finding your why in this work in the field, and then pursuing the career pathways and opportunities that really align to that. And I love that registered apprenticeship has been one gateway that's allowed you to do that and really pursue the education aligned to the work that you were so excited to do. And again, you're like the entrepreneur kind of in that world, but we know now there are other opportunities within Wisconsin and around the country, which is great. Marianne, you exemplify what a long-term career in this work could look like. What would you say are some long-term career prospects for somebody that might be curious or just entering early childhood education today? And as someone that's navigated lots of different roles, what might be some tips you would share with those of us who might be wanting to enter the field?
Those are great questions. And David, every time I hear you speak about your journey, it just gives me goosebumps because it's so needed and the word needs to get out there. But go back to Kara's question, the long-term career prospects in early childhood education are promising. As you see, I have been all over, but there are opportunities for growth in various directions, such as moving into administrative roles, specializing in ECE special education, or contributing in curriculum development. This journey is about finding one's path, and like David said, your purpose. It's about understanding that challenges to stories and seeds to beginnings are infinite in early childhood education. Each experience, challenge, and triumph contribute to a larger narrative of personal and professional development, allowing for a deeply fulfilling career aligned with one's core value and your purpose. That why is so important. That fuels it. For the tips for navigating and having a successful career, I would say stay updated with the latest research. You're always learning best practices in early childhood education, seeking mentorship. Like David said earlier, find experienced professionals who can guide you through, offer advice on your good, your bad days, challenges, and provide support throughout your entire journey. I would say be open to change, and flexibility is so needed in this field, and ready to adapt to new challenges and opportunities. I would also say stand your ground. Remember that understanding your purpose can provide motivation and clarity, and know that I love this, that you are on purpose for a purpose. I love that. You are on purpose for a purpose. Understanding why you're here. That will, your understanding your why will let you guide your actions and your decisions. And then share any stories, your experiences, good, challenging, to inspire and teach others. And turn your challenges into stories that can help others see the beauty and importance of early childhood education.
I love that. I wish I could write down all of those wonderful quotes that Marian was sharing. Just feeling some inspiration from that. Thank you, Marian. And I am acknowledging that we have so many folks on the call today that several folks in the chat shared, years of experience within a teacher educator role too. And I think we want to also note that while some careers bounce around in different roles, there's also beauty and I think need as well for folks that continue to deepen their practice as educators, and that's part of career growth too. Maybe finding your role, your passion, and continuing to grow and deepen and strengthen in those spaces. So I want to honor the folks who have been in a single role or a couple of roles for long periods of time, who are investing of themselves and continuing to grow in those spaces too. David, as someone who is newer to the work and looking ahead in your career, are there additional tips you would like to add for navigating a successful pathway in this work?
I've learned this. There's two things for me. Sometimes the best experience is advice. And I've learned that just because, like I said, I'm always going to the higher ups here, or, experienced teachers, and they're always giving me advice on things that they did and it didn't work for them. So then it's just me like, okay, well, I won't try that. I'll try it a different way, and that has been really the key to me being successful in my role, I believe. And then also, I know when to say no. There's been many times an opportunity or position has been given to me here, but I just haven't, I've known like I'm not ready for that. Or I just don't want to leave the classroom. Like I just can't see myself turning away from kids right now. So those have been the two biggest things. And I feel like those tools can go a long way with people. Just take the advice, take the experience. Don't be like stubborn or naive to it. Like take it. That they're giving it to you for a reason. They're feeding you that food. So I'm gonna eat this food. And then don't be afraid to say no. Like there's gonna be multiple opportunities. I feel like in the field of education, opportunities open up every other week or so. So if you say no to this one, next week I'm sure you're gonna have something better than Yeah, I could go on and on about that, but yeah, don't be afraid to say no, for sure.
For sure. And I love David, Marion, and I, as we were practicing, met and chatted. I think we could have chatted for like 3 hours, but we won't do that to you today. But one of the things I really valued about David was, he was talking about, I hear him say he also seeks that. He seeks that mentoring and from others. And I think we all can learn from that, that tip to
Yeah, add Kara. I seeked it because, and I'm just being honest here. When I walk into this building every day, there's not many people who look like me. Far as just a male, this is a female dominant base career, and I love it. It's gatekeeped by the women. I love it. So I had to go find men who were just as passionate as me because there's so many women that are passionate. But I wanted to see the other side of it. I want to see how those men feel. And if I had the same views, and if not, how can we get on board to all come together? Now it's men and women. So I can share. I don't think I shared this with you guys last week, but we have two groups here now. We have our men group, which is we're better together, bond together, and then our women group, which I really don't know too much about because I'm not tied in with them. But we created this big thing where we come together, and it's like a focus group. People are talking about their strengths, their weaknesses, and it's a book club. It's like so much going on in one that it's just so beautiful now to see it flourishing. So you gotta seek it.
Love it. And create those communities of support with fellow educators and folks in the work. Absolutely. All right. We have just a minute or two to field a couple of questions. So if you would chat in your burning questions for Marion or David, we will pull one or two of those before we move into our next section here. Well, just a minute to enter those. Kimberly, are we seeing any questions coming in?
Not in the chat.
Okay. All right, chat now.
It's usually a good thing. That means we answered everything.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, it's just been a joy to be able to talk to Marion and David and the ways that they have found joy in this work. I think it really inspires all of us. And for those of us that have been in the work a long time, we might be supporting others as they're entering the field. I think just important takeaways that we can share with some of them, as well as wisdom for all of us as we continue to move and dig into this important work. So appreciate both of you in this moment. Thank you so much.
All right, you guys thought you were going to get rid of me. I am back. So up next, did you know that ECWC offers support and assistance? So let's take a look at it. ECWC offers a comprehensive range of support and assistance to new or expanding registered apprenticeship programs. We are here to help make registered apprenticeship easier for those involved. Our staff can meet teams where they are in the process and customize the following services based on their needs. ECWC supports the development of new ECERA programs and the expansion of existing ones. We assist in outreach and education through customized presentations, education materials, marketing templates, and assistance with fostering connections to support registered apprenticeship. Our team can assess and align professional learning programs with RA requirements and practices, including ECE coursework and mentorship materials. We offer innovative apprentice recruitment materials and strategies. ECWC also assists programs in exploring and utilizing multiple funding streams to support apprentice success and program sustainability. And this is all at no cost. We also have an ECWC incentive fund for registered apprenticeship. Eligibility for ECWC incentive fund is available to ECERA sponsors and or employers who partner with ECWC to receive ongoing technical assistance. The funding is correlated to each new apprentice enrolled within an established ECE registered apprenticeship program. or for a startup's cost for developing and registering an ECE apprenticeship. ECWC offers on average $1,000 per new apprentice and $40,000 maximum one-time funding for ECERA sponsors or employers. The incentive fund cannot be used for wages and does not go to the apprentice, but listed are on the slide are a few ideas of how these funds could be utilized, such as classroom supplies, technology support, translation services, mentor training, or marketing to support ECERA programs. This funding is available to registered apprenticeship sponsors, employers to offset the cost of developing, implementing, and expanding RA programs. To learn more, contact ECWC, and I think in the chat, there should be a resource there to lead for more information. I think it's back to you, Haley.
Yes, was turning my camera and my mic back on. Thank you, Marian. Okay, so I have a few quick housekeeping items to get us wrapped up for today. First, make sure to connect with us after the webinar. On the screen, you can find the website, newsletter, and social media information for both ECWC and the Council. Additionally, we hope you'll join us for the culminating session of this series at the Early Educators Leadership Conference. You can find more information about the conference and register on the Council website. The next session in this series in August will focus on pay and benefits. In September, for our last webinar in the series, we'll walk you through empowering the early childhood, we'll walk you through registered apprenticeship with a recap of the previous webinars and a panel discussion with ECWC's RA sponsor partners about their reasons for starting a registered apprenticeship program and what their experiences have been. Registration is available on the Council Alumni Network. The Council Alumni Network is the Council's free social platform that anyone can join to gain access to this and other events, past webinar recordings, affinity communities, a wide variety of resources, and more. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you in August.
All right, thank you, Haley. With the last few minutes left, we do have some questions that are popping into the chat that I'd love to bring up for the group. The first one comes from Anne Marie. She's wondering what support is available for an individual who wants to move from a classroom to administrative work.
Hey, I would say if you're in the classroom right now, I would talk to your director, administrator to see what, because depending on the state, what those qualifications would be. You may need to check with childcare licensing also, and seeing what that state specifically requires, and then go about finding that support and other resources to help you get to that next step.
Wonderful, thank you, Marianne. Our next
You're welcome.
question comes from Nicole Smith. I am a childcare provider and seeking other ECE careers in the next 2 years. What would you suggest is the best way to begin seeking mentors or prepare for applying for a new position within ECE?
Suggest, David, do you want to take that one? That's
Yes,
perfect. I'm glad you popped on that screen.
For me, I literally was like joining webinars, like finding webinars online, signing up for stuff, and like just reaching out. And I started to just hear things, and as I was hearing things, I would write people information down and just get connected with them. Like I have a lot of emails that dates back, but getting connected with people, and they would like point me to building after building after building, and then just finding the right fit was really what helped me. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and I'll add to that as someone who's worked in sort of professional development organizations around the country, you might want to start with the local organizations that are in that space. So maybe your childcare resource and referral, or your NAEYC chapter. those folks may have connections and awareness of other roles or be able to be a support. And then LinkedIn has lots and lots of early childhood organizations. So that's a great place to find all the kind of national, state, and local organizations that are working in this space and kind of start to get a taste of what some of the other career opportunities and kinds of work exist in this world.
Great answers. I think some of these might be applicable to our next question as well. Coming from Malika, how can I work as a consultant along with experience with infants and toddlers and families for the past 24 years?
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I would kind of piggyback on some of the conversations shared earlier, right? That you would need to start thinking about what you offer and your why, you know, what distinguishes you in that work and in that world to be able to share and instruct with others. Depending on where you live, there may be structured support networks or organizations that are providing that consultant work direct to programs or educators. So those may be some places to start thinking and looking and exploring, and maybe exploring other folks in that work and talking with them about how they got their start and built either a client base or connected with another organization that is working to provide those supports in the classroom.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all for the questions in the chat.
Great.
Okay, well, if those are all the questions that we have, I think we can close us out for today. Thank you all again for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the next installments of the webinar series and at EELC. Have a wonderful day, everyone.